is Sam Bradford good enough to take the Vikings to the Super Bowl this year and possibly win the Super Bowl this year? Now, when it comes to the Vikings, they have a very talented defense. On the offensive side of the ball, it feels as if that the offensive weaponry is a pretty lackluster. I'm not a big Kyle Rudolph fan when it comes to the receiving game. Stephon Diggs made a video why he's overrated. Click the link in the description if you're interested. I also not very sure about Dalvin Cook. Had a good first game, but remember, it's the Saints defense. And then you have Latavius Murray on the bench, who can break out for a 70-yard touchdown, but doesn't mean he's necessarily that great. O-line has obviously been a concern. But when I look at Sam Bradford, I think Sam Bradford is an underappreciated quarterback in this league. Now, obviously, when he was coming out of the 2010 draft, he was obviously paid a ridiculous amount, especially for a first overall pick. He was paid, I think he got like a $50 million contract. And this guy wasn't even the best prospect. He wasn't even a John Elway-esque prospect. Andrew Luck, when he was a first overall pick, was paid a 4-year, $16 million deal with a 5-year option bonus. And Sam Bradford obviously just held out for a huge contract. Now, the big issue with Sam Bradford is obviously his injury concerns, because the guy, he gets very injured. He's a very lanky quarterback, you could say. And that's something that definitely has held him back. But hey, Joe Montana was an injury-prone quarterback, and at one point, he was the greatest quarterback of all time. Or, if not to some people, he still is the greatest quarterback of all time. So that's just something to look at. Now, when it comes to Bradford, I think he is very accurate. I think when you look at him, he's much more accurate than people give him credit for. And when it comes to accuracy, accuracy is so important because I feel as if you're one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league, you're definitely going to find a starting job in the NFL. And when it comes to the strongest arm quarterbacks in the league, not so much. I believe Jay Cutler has one of the strongest arms in the league. And the only reason why he's starting is because of Ryan Tannehill's injury. So when it comes to arm strength, accuracy is much more important in the sense that, well, you're more likely to start if you're one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league versus you're one of the strongest arm quarterbacks in the league. And when it comes to this, he definitely does have accuracy. Yes, he does play in the dome. However, he's never really had that much receiving talent around him. If you look at it, Stephon Diggs might be his best receiver he's ever thrown to, and that's not saying much. And Adam Thielen is a scrub-killing kind of wide receiver. He's only going to break out if he's facing against a bad defense and whatnot, and he's not even a number one, so he's not even that good. So I just look at it and think to myself, Sam Bradford just never really had that much talent around him. And that's definitely something I look at. Now, when it comes to leadership, personality-wise, there's some things that I haven't really seen too much from Sam Bradford. That's definitely something I think I want to see more of. Because I haven't really seen much. There's some things where there's only one negative thing that sticks out in my mind. And Michael Bennett made a funny joke about it. But basically what happened was during a preseason game, Sam Bradford did a read option play, and Terrell Suggs, I think, hit him in his ankles, and he was like bitching about a call, calling for flags and whatnot. And Michael Bennett says like he just didn't have any respect for that, made fun of him for it, and it was well deserved. Good props to you, Michael Bennett. However, when I look at this, I think Sam Bradford, he might have changed, and I think that he is definitely injury prone, but that does not mean he's not tough. The guy could obviously take a hit. He definitely played with one of the worst offensive lines in 2016, and it has improved slightly since in 2017. So he's never really played with much. So he could take a hit. It's just he's just kind of injury prone. And there's the toughness thing is this question because I don't really necessarily see the toughness. And when it comes to quarterbacks, I really think you need to be tough to win a Super Bowl, or you have to be like absolutely freaking talented. And that's how I look at it. And to be honest, I don't really see that. And also, he has no playoff numbers to really go off of because he's never been in the playoffs. Now, when it comes to Bradford, obviously, I think if Teddy Bridgewater is healthy, they're going to start Teddy Bridgewater over Sam Bradford. And if I'm Sam Bradford, I might leave. I think if I'm Sam Bradford, I would go to the Denver Broncos and put a starting job right there. And I think that could be a pretty good gig right there. Or if you want a payday, go to the New York Jets. It's nothing really too bad. There's a lot of options for Bradford right here. But when it comes to him for the Vikings, I definitely think he's good enough when it comes to accuracy. And you really don't need a fantastic quarterback to sometimes win Super Bowl. Obviously, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl, but obviously, you're talking about the 2000 Ravens defense. And I'm not so sure if the Vikings defense is the 2000 Ravens defense, to be honest with you. It's a very good defense. It doesn't seem all-time great from what I saw in Week 1. Yes, the Saints are a very good offense. However, I find their offense to be much of a garbage time yard offense, and it's really not too intimidating. Now, for back to Bradford, I definitely think that there is some questions with him whether he's good about it, because he could become the Jim Plunkett of the 2000s or this decade, of however you want to put it, and he definitely could do that. He could become one of these players and all that could emerge and become a Super Bowl champion. And to be honest, some people think he would resign to be the backup of the Vikings, which would be good for the Vikings. However, I think he's good enough to become a starter. And there's some questions. Leadership-wise, I don't really see much. I can't really say. Toughness-wise, Michael Bennett, there's definitely a negative with his toughness, obviously, with one of Michael Bennett's comment. I still need to see more of it. Obviously, he's played with some bad O-lines before, but there's a lot of things with his personality that I have to see more of. But he's definitely accurate, and he's definitely never played a lot of talent around him. And Sam Bradford, who I compare a lot to Alex Smith, he's definitely one of these guys who I thought that is better than Alex Smith. Because, first things first, Alex Smith is a dink and dunk kind of guy. Even what I saw in Week 1 against the New England Patriots, I saw a bad New England Patriots defense, well, before badly that night. And not only that, it was the two deep balls were easy reads. A Tyreek Hill, boom, easy. He was 20 yards away from the cornerback, and the safety didn't even look that way. He was like 20 yards away. So the guy had easy room. And the one to Kareem Hunt, yes, it was a good throw. However, a pass rusher was covering him. So if you look at that, that's an easy read right there. So I'm not a big fan of Alex Smith, and that's why I think Sam Bradford's better, because Alex Smith has had loads of talent around him, whether it's Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Even though I don't think Travis Kelce's that great, he's still good. He's just not great. Made an overrated video on him. And then I also talked about Vernon Davis was there, Michael Crabtree he's played with. So he's had talent around him. However, he just couldn't deliver with it. Versus Sam Bradford, if you give him that talent, I think you could see a lot better. You give Sam Bradford or Antonio Brown, you're talking about Sam Bradford, people talking about him potentially being a top 10 quarterback in the league. You would start hearing that. Now, if I have to rank Sam Bradford, he's definitely a middle-of-the-pack quarterback. However, we've seen middle-pack quarterbacks win Super Bowls not too long ago. For instance, Joe Flacco, Eli Manning, a lot of people consider him a middle pack. So it is possible for the Vikings to win a Super Bowl with him. However, I want to see toughness out of this guy. I need to see more of him. And I can't just jump to the conclusion that he's good enough. He's accurate enough. And yes, I do think he was deprived of not having enough talent around him. However, I need to see more of him. All right. So I made a bunch of videos on a bunch of stuff. I talked about if Teddy Bridgewater is overrated. I talked about how Stephon Diggs is overrated. I talked about how Alex Smith is overrated. I talked about Travis Kelce is overrated. And also I made my last video on my predictions for this week. I'm already 1-0 so far with the Texans versus Bengals game. So I'm 1-0. So check on that, guys, out. Also check out a bunch of other videos I suggested. I'll see you guys next time. And also, I'm probably going to make a video later today. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.